Welcome. I'm Morgan Giss McDonald, founder, CEO of Paper Raven Books, and I have with us today the co-authors, Ann Evans Cazier and Cal Cazier, who have just released the Resiliency Toolkit, and they're going to take us behind the scenes of what it was like to write and publish their book. We're going to talk with them more. Ann and Cal, thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for letting us come. We enjoy writing, we enjoy being together, and we enjoy being in front of the camera. So thank you.
Y'all are amazing. And we did want to take a special note. You are amazing in so many ways. And one of the particular ways in which you're amazing, Cal, is you have your own resilience. And we just want to go ahead and mention one of the things that y'all have in your lives is an ongoing, relationship with Tourette syndrome.
I have Tourette syndrome. Had it probably since about second grade, and I wasn't diagnosed till I was 50. Although working in public health, I knew what it was and knew that I probably had it, but it didn't matter to me. But I did get diagnosed, and I found that after I got diagnosed, I could talk about it, and it really helped me as well as others, put others at ease. Whenever I make a presentation, I generally start with telling people that they're going to see my eyes going all over my face, my mouth will follow them, my shoulders will be doing ticking, and if you could see my legs every now and then, they shoot out and things. And I just make a promise to them. I say, if you don't let it bother you, I won't let it bother me. And then what happens is I tell them, and which is true, that the kind of Tourette I have is not coprolalia, or in other words, I don't swear with my Tourette. And if you do hear me swear, it's because I want to swear, not because of the Tourette. So,
That is amazing.
but I have been able to live with it. It hasn't stopped me. I've developed my resiliency, and I think part of that is attributable to the fact that I've been able to live comfortably with who I am and with my own, nobody wants to walk around like. Did we lose you?
Sorry about that. I think that I had a slight internet lag, but I'm so glad that we're still connected, and Facebook replay will cut that together. But thanks for bringing that to our attention, Cal. And we're going to talk a lot about resilience. You two demonstrate you're unstoppable in so many ways. We'll talk about that, especially with the writing process. But tools with families. So could you tell us a little bit about the Resiliency Toolkit, who it's for, and how you hope this book will help people?
Yeah, it's kind of exciting. This book is, the main audience is for parents, but it's also for grandparents and teachers and therapists and other people who are interested in children. And, it was really fun to write. It all started actually because Cal was the president of the Utah chapter of the Tourette Syndrome of America Association here, and he started writing a president's note to the families, writing stories, and to teach parents about things that they could to help their kids be more resilient. And we were getting a really good response from the parents saying this is really helping us to get kind of stories that go, put it in real life. And then we started talking, and eventually we came up with the idea of collecting those stories and others that Cal's written, and combining his stories with my expertise as a therapist to talk to parents about, the research-based skills that people who are resilient have. Like Cal has a great sense of humor, and that helps him through pretty much everything that he has to get through. And he's willing to work hard, and forgiveness and being grateful. These are all skills and they can all be developed. So we develop these tools that will help people teach their kids how to develop those skills. But in
Yeah.
a fun way.
I like to hear her talk, you know. She builds me up good, doesn't she?
She does. Y'all are a good team.
I realize I'm almost perfect.
So why do you think that this is a message that we really need in our families and for our kids these days? Like, why do we need resilience?
Well, that's an interesting question. In many ways, it's kind of obvious, but other ways it may not be. I like to liken it to a child that's fallen down. And what happens when they fall down? Do they get back up and get on their bike, or do they say, Dad, Mom, heck, I don't want to ride this anymore? Well, if they don't ride it anymore, then what's going to happen is they're going to be afraid of that bike, and they're not going to grow as much as if they get back on. I also liken it to one of the stories in the book of me and two of my cousins riding a horse, and we were riding bareback, and that horse was the dumbest horse in the world. I mean, it had two speeds, run and stop. So we hopped on that horse, we rode it to the bottom of the field, and it stopped, and we fell off. We got back on and rode it the other direction, and it stopped, and we fell off. I don't know how many times we rode that thing back and forth, but we fell off every time. And then it was time for chores. So we rode the horse back to the barn, and that horse did the same thing, and we fell off. And I ended up with a broken elbow and in surgery that evening. The point I'm getting at is, after the surgery and everything was over, I got back up on the horse, and I rode it again. I wasn't afraid, but if I hadn't of, I could have been afraid of horses my whole life. And I think that's the thing about resiliency. When we fall down, we want to get up and hop back on and move forward. And if we do, our children or ourselves will be stronger than we were before the event occurred.
Yeah. That's a great story. And that is essentially what we want for our kids, right? As parents, we say we want our kids to be happy. But I think one of the underlying things is that we know as adults that circumstances are not always going to work out for our kids, right? But we want them to learn how to create happiness in their lives, regardless of those circumstances. And in my reading of the book, just as a parent, because I have my own 4 kids, that was a message that really kind of kept coming back to me was, even when the circumstances don't work out, I still want my kids to be able to find their own happiness. And I think that's something that y'all's book does so well in such an easy and approachable kind of way. What are some of the ways that you guys would suggest? Maybe pull out a tool or a tip or something that maybe a parent could apply today. What's something that y'all feel like was really powerful in the book that you might want to share with parents?
Well, just like Cal was just talking about with taking just everyday occurrences, things happen in your family with your kids every single day, where if you're looking for it, you have an opportunity to teach your kids to learn from that and how to take that and move forward. Like you said, not only do I want you to be happy, but I want you to be confident. I want you to know that no matter what's going on, you're going to be able to figure it out. You're going to be able to take what happens to you and learn from it and move forward. So, when Cal was talking about the dumb horses, one of the things that I take away from that is don't do it 12 times, in the same way. After you fall off the first time, you might think about what can I learn from that? Or even better still, you might see those crazy kids running down the pasture falling off. If you're sitting there over on the sidelines, you might even learn that, hey, wait a minute, maybe we should put the saddle on. Maybe we shouldn't have 3 kids on the horse. Just learning from our experience rather than just doing the same thing over and over again.
Cal, it's a good thing you have Anne in your life.
She would have only let me fall off 6.
That's right. Well, guys, Ann and Cal's book, The Resiliency Toolkit, is available. You can grab your free copy today if you go to paperravenbooks.com/slash the Resiliency Toolkit. So I've dropped the comments in the description here, and I'll drop it again in the link in the comments, paperravenbooks.com/slash the Resiliency Toolkit, and you can get a free copy today. So go ahead and do that now while you're thinking about it. Even if you might wait till this weekend to read it, go ahead and get the free copy today so that you have it for when you get that reading time this weekend. But we also have been getting some questions. You know, I mentioned to some people that y'all are co-authors, and some people were really interested in hearing a little bit more about that journey, because it's one thing to write a book and it's another thing to write a book with another person, and you guys are married. So I would love for you guys to talk a bit about what that writing process was like for you guys. You know, Cal bringing the stories and bringing the expertise. How did y'all put that into one book?
Well, that's easy. Last year I had cancer and I was in the hospital a good part of the year. So Ann was alone to do what she wanted with me. So and I accepted, and we have a great relationship. And she always, I mean, when she'd write, I would always have the opportunity to read and comment and insert my comments. And likewise, when I'd write, she did the same thing. And we never, that I remember, we never disagreed vocally, loudly. You know? And I think that we were, and if we happened to disagree and we couldn't resolve it right then, we just set it aside and came back to it a little bit later. But I don't remember ever having just any serious down and out verbal battles or anything.
No, it's been fun to write together. I think that one thing that's nice about this situation is that Cal and I, our different approaches to life, our different strengths that we have, really complement each other. So that's been really fun. I've told him over and over again that I feel very strongly this book is a better book than either one of us would have written alone.
Yes. Yeah. That is
being the shy, backward type that I am, I would never have written this book alone.
You guys make a really good team. Do you mind if I ask a little bit about, I mean, Cal, you mentioned that you underwent cancer treatments this last year. What was that like for you? I mean, that certainly required a lot of resiliency on your part just to get back up and to finish the book. But that happens to all of us. You know, writing a book is such a long process that there's often something major that comes up in life. How did you two decide that, okay, even though we have all of these other things going on in life, including cancer treatments, how did you decide that this book was going to remain a priority for you?
Well, we actually started the book a year before, and a year ago in January, we felt like we were about done with it. We just needed to edit it and make some tweaks and things. But then I got sick, and I spent a lot of time in the hospital, a lot of time just, I don't have much memory of last year at all.
He's pretty sick.
And so we put it on hold. And then towards the end of last year, maybe the first of this year, we pulled it out again and started working again. And to be honest, I was so weak and so fatigued that if I wrote a single story, I was down in bed for 2 or 3 hours. I mean, it was mentally, the mental exertion caused physical tiredness.
Mm.
And Ann was the one that was really diligent. She took and she wrote, and I edited, and so that's what happened. And to be honest, without Ann, that whole year would have been wasted, and this year would have been wasted, and we wouldn't have gotten it done if she was dependent on me for much more a load than I was able to handle. And she was always very, very supportive. And she says, I know that you're fatigued. Just go do this. and I'll take care of it. I'll do what I can. You know, not only with the book, but with the chores around the house and things. For me, this sounds crazy, but I was so fatigued that to get up in the morning and brush my teeth was almost more than I could do.
Wow.
And there were some mornings that I didn't because I was just that tired. But Anne was very, very supportive of me, and she took on extra work, and she took on during this time she took on a major role in the book, for which I'm grateful. You know, she's just a wonderful wife. You know.
That's interesting though, Morgan, because I think it's part of resiliency in life as a couple. There's this give and take, right? And when we started writing the book, it was more Cal's idea. And he was writing these stories, and he kept saying to me, I think there's a book in here, Anne. I think there's a book in here, Anne. And I kept saying, just keep writing, just keep writing. You know, I don't know if there is, but just keep writing, just keep telling your stories, and we'll figure it out. And then after he had gotten over 100 stories written, we there's something that we do as a couple sometimes. There's some hot springs not too far from here, and we just took a weekend and went up to the hot springs, and there's a little hotel there and kind of a funky old place, and you for a while and then go back and
That's
forth,
amazing.
and it just came together. We thought, oh, this is how we could organize it, this is how we could help parents, and this is how we could bring it together, and it was really, really exciting. So whereas, yeah, I mean, I've held probably a bigger load more recently since Cal was sick, but you know, honestly, he was the fundamental inspiration and did a lot of the heavy lifting and writing early on. So you just take life one day at a time, and if it doesn't turn out the way you thought it was going to, you make a new plan and try again.
Yeah. So, huh?
It's called teamwork.
I was going to say the meta lesson is that when you are both co-authoring a book, each person should give the other person credit. And that'll make everyone feel good. That's amazing. You guys are just incredible. So you have this process of writing the book, you know, Cal's doing the stories, Anne's pulling the stories together, y'all are organizing things. You kind of have to pause for the cancer treatments and then come back around. And then suddenly you're handing the book off to other people.
Yeah.
Not yourselves, but other people to like edit and help with the cover design. Like, what was that, you know, bringing in, so Paper Raven Books, you know, helped you with this process, but like, what was it like working with other people who were not, you know, you?
In this part, and there were, it was a little harder to learn to compromise when that third person was in there. Although we still did without arguing much. No, we never get really vocal when we argue. We disagree, but for me, the hardest part was when we brought in that third person.
Yeah, it is tough. You know, you think that you have the book, like you've been through so many passes and so many, you know, you two have thought about things and talked about things. And then to get another person coming in and saying, well, you should think about this. It's really challenging.
It is challenging. But I have to say, looking back, I don't think we made any compromises that I would make again. Because actually, third people coming in, they bring their own perspective and their own experience, and I think that the book is better.
I do too.
I think the book is better for that. I was reading a book about making presentations. Nancy Duarte, I think is her name.
Yes, she's amazing.
And one of the things that stuck in my mind from her, she says, okay, after you get it all ready, then you have to be willing to murder your darlings. You know, just like these favorite things that you have in there, but that needs to go. You know, that distracts or that's not on topic. Get to the point and murder your darlings. So it takes a little bit of courage.
Well,
you guys,
in my profession in public health, that when we'd write papers or whatever, we'd have a designated, pretty much a designated writer or a couple designated writers, and then we'd have a designated editor or whatnot. And that editor, the purpose of the editor was to rip that thing apart if it needed to be ripped apart. We didn't want it whitewashed. And by so doing, and by having that kind of a philosophy, our papers were better than any of us could have done alone. And it was kind of the same thing here, only the people that were helping us weren't so brutal.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
You have a great, great group of people who work for you, Morgan, and they were fantastic, and they were so encouraging. And yeah, they, I think, quickly caught the vision of the book and were excited and behind the mission and really wanted us to succeed. So that was really fun.
There was conversation behind the scenes, within the team about just, we really feel like this is a powerful book. This is going to help so many families. So many of us on the team are parents as well. And so we're definitely sort of trading, stories like, oh, did you read that one? Did you read that one? It was so good. And so for us, it was really enjoyable for our entire team to work with you on the book. So that was a major honor. So yes, thank you. And now you have a book. Anne, can you show us? It's a physical, real, in the world book.
Yeah.
So what has it been like? Now you're sort of putting the book out there. We're in the middle of launch week. I was just looking at your Amazon rankings. I mean, you have already hit #1 in like parenting, emotions and feelings, family relationships, child development, and we're only like not even halfway through, and you're already hitting #1 in those bigger and bigger categories. What has this been like for you to put it out there, to have the conversation, to see the reviews coming in?
Well, it's been really exciting. I mean, it's definitely a place where it takes a whole team, takes a whole village. And we've had so many great supporters who have been behind our work and encouraged us and been telling us from the beginning, you've got to get this out there, you guys, you got to get this out there. And they've been really supportive, and it's fun to see the reviews start coming in from readers. And especially from people we've never even met. So we're so excited to engage with new families and new people. And we've had people from all over the United States, from up in Canada. We even had a person from India email us and say, hey, I'm trying to get on Amazon. How do I get on Amazon in India to get this book? And we were able to figure it out.
Oh my gosh. You're in India. Your book is in India.
Yeah, I don't know anybody in India, so but now I do, and it's been really fun to just have people say, I really want this. I've heard such good things. I want this for my family. So it's exciting.
The thing with me about this is that when we wrote it, I was thinking, man, if 10 or 20 people read it, it'll be a miracle. And to see it grow and see so many people download it, read the reviews. It confirms to me that the idea that we developed is probably a pretty good idea for helping parents, the way that we put it together. And so it reinforces that, and to be honest, I'm surprised that it has done so well. But I hoped for it, but it was a nice surprise. It's still a nice surprise to watch those numbers go up.
Oh, Cal, we're just getting started. This is the beginning of the runway.
Good.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the things that about the book that I really, really am excited about in today's world. I think there are so many families, they want good stuff for their kids, but they want to do it by smoothing the way and making sure that everything goes right and that their kids don't have any problems or any troubles, or that everything works out great for them. And then they're ending up, they don't mean to do this, but they end up with their kids don't know how to face any setbacks or challenges. The other thing is parents are going after, that I work with, have been going after, like, well, okay, now I need to read all these books on bullying, or I need to read all these books on doing chores, or I need to do, And for us, it's those fundamental principles. Like if you teach your kid these fundamental principles about being resilient, then whatever happens, whatever challenges they face, which are going to be different in 5 years or 10 years, but we can't even anticipate what they'll be, but they'll be ready.
Yes. So powerful. So powerful. Guys, get your copy. It's free today. paperravenbooks.com/the Resiliency Toolkit. Get it now. You can read it with your family over the weekend, but this is so powerful for, just like you said, Anne, for helping your children to have that confidence, to build the confidence, to know that they're going to be able to be happy regardless of other people, outside circumstances, life, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I would love to ask one more question for you guys. And this is thinking about everything that you know now, right? So you've walked through writing the book and getting the book edited and designed and published, and we're in launch week, and you've learned all these lessons. If you were to go back to Anne and Cal a few years ago when you were just getting started with this book project, what would each of you, we can do, one at a time, like what would you have to say to that, previous version of yourself about becoming an author?
That's an easy question to answer. I wouldn't get sick.
Don't recommend it.
Yeah, I would pretty much do it again. With the hope that we could just get started and maintain it from beginning to end without that interruption. It's been amazing for me to write with Anne and work with her closely. So for me, I don't think I would do anything different other than, like I said, not get sick.
We've actually joked, we've looked at each other and said, well, when we started writing this book, because we'd already faced quite a few things, Cal's first wife and the mother of his children had cancer also and passed away.
Wow.
And he's had Tourette syndrome and lots of different challenges in his life. And we've been married 13 years now. It's blending our families together. My first marriage ended in divorce, and I have 3 daughters. And, there's been a lot of things in life that have not exactly gone the way you thought they would. And so we've joked that when we started the book, we thought we knew a little bit about resiliency. The universe said, oh yeah, you think you know a little bit about resiliency? Let's just check that out. we'll test that.
Well, we did check it out.
That's right.
Not like we wanted, but we got it checked out.
We got it checked out, and I think that for me anyway, that made it all the more important that we actually finished the book and got it out into the world, because it just felt important that to do that, to say yes, doesn't matter what happens, and that you don't know, wherever you are in your journey, you don't know what's going to happen next. Things that seem like a failure or a huge setback or a problem, later on in life, down the road, you often see that, wow, that was an important stepping stone, or something I really needed to learn, or some growth I really needed to have that's really helped me be more successful now.
Yes. So good. All right, so you wouldn't change anything. Maybe just be prepared for all the resiliency tests that you would face.
This acceptance that you don't get to change it.
I would like to suggest to those who download it, in the beginning of the book is a story about my life, kind of, and it's called So What? So what if you're not smart enough to go to college, And I was not a good student. I was basically told I wasn't smart enough for college. But in this story, I talk about how I was able to overcome and get my life in order so that I could develop the resiliency to do things that people weren't expecting. And I think that's what the focus of the book, not me, it's not on me, but the focus of the book is on getting people to recognize that they can do things to make them stronger and enhance their lives.
Yeah. So Cal's able to go from, in high school, the counselor pretty much effectively telling him, you really should think about something else besides college. and ending up being able to get his bachelor's degree and go on to get a master's degree and go on to teach at the university level for more than 35 years and have a great career and get his PhD. And, you know, it's about having a dream. It's what do you really dream about and what do you want to accomplish? That's what I think is so important for people to take away. What's that goal?
Yes.
And that's part of the book is helping people really figure out what their dreams are and how to take the small steps that you need to get.
And not give up.
Yeah.
Not give up.
Yes. Ah, so powerful. Thank you so much, Anne and Cal. Thank you for having the courage and the resiliency to get this message, to get this book out there. It's been such an honor to help you. You guys, if you're watching, grab your free copy of this book today. paperribbonbooks.com/the Resiliency Toolkit. The link will be in the comments. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Cal, for joining us. And I hope you'll have an amazing day.
Likewise.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so
You
much,
too.
Morgan.
Appreciate it.